Why zoos should be banned. Globally, 7 million people visit zoos and aquariums every year, or about 10% of the world's population. This shows that almost everyone has experienced some sort of zoo within their lifetime. But many people do not realize the harm zoos are putting their animals in. Often, zoos are nothing like a natural habitat. The cages and glass structures animals are typically held in at zoos are tremendously small compared to their natural habitat and amount of space they need to develop and live properly. Not only are zoo habitats extremely small, they are also furnished with artificial processed fake properties to make up their habitat: dirt, moss, trees, etc. By living in a confined space, animals are developing differently compared to as if they were in the wild. For example, difference in skull shape, brain size reduction, postcranial adaptations, and digestive tract changes. These are just a few of the major changes in animals in captivity. This is according to Auburn University. According to PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, even under the best circumstances, zoo captivity cannot begin to replicate animals' wildlife habitats. There are so many factors to replicate an animal's natural habitat, which makes replicating it so difficult, especially with region, space, and money. Animals in petting zoos are often touched by thousands of people and thousands of hands that have been everywhere. This puts animals at risk of getting diseases and harmed. An Oxford University study based on 4 decades of observing animals in captivity and in the wild found that animals such as polar bears, lions, tigers, and cheetahs show the most evidence of stress and or psychological dysfunction of captivity. This is according to PETA. A survey of the records for 4,500 elephants, both in the wild and in captivity, found that the median lifespan for an African elephant in a zoo was 16.9 years, whereas African elephants on a nature preserve died of natural causes at a median age of 56 years. Researchers concluded that bringing elephants into zoos profoundly impairs their viability. PETA. The amount of keepers that get hurt while at work. Alana Romaine from the Born Free Advocacy Group stated that in 2016 there had been 256 serious injuries and 33 deaths within the past 26 years. Although this may not seem like a lot, there shouldn't be any injuries in this field, especially because there is severe level of training keepers have to go through. Zoo injuries are most common at petting zoos. This is because of the obvious. You are allowed to touch the animals. These injuries are avoidable. Zoos are extremely inhumane in different ways, and many of which outsiders don't even know of. Animals aren't supposed to be kept in captivity. Animals are born into the wild and are meant to stay in the wild. This is how they were born, raised, and learned. By taking animals out of their natural habitat, they are confused and don't know how to react or adapt because the wild is all they know. Animals are often prevented from doing the most of the things they do in their natural habitat, which are important to them, like running, roaming, flying, climbing, foraging, choosing a partner, and being with others of their own kind, says PETA. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has given licenses to about 2,400 animal exhibitors. Animal exhibitors use their licenses to operate roadside zoos and petting zoos, which are both notorious for animal abuse, says Zoe Rosenberg from St. Scientist Media. Although big zoos are still harmful to animals kept there, there are more regulations for big corporation zoos. The smaller zoos do not have these regulations, making it very hard to ensure the safety in their care. Roadside zoos are notorious for animal abuse. There are many reasons for this, but a reason they don't is because they don't have funds for their animals. This causes zoos to neglect obvious health issues with the animals, disregard health checkups, and not give the proper nutrition they need. Some might argue that zoos are educational, but in reality there is little learning done at zoos and is more entertainment than learning. A study done at PETA, a researcher found that most visitors spend only a few minutes at each display, seeking entertainment rather than enlightenment. Over the course of 5 summers, a curator at the National Zoo followed more than 700 zoo visitors and found that it didn't matter what display was on. People were treating the exhibits like wallpaper. He determined that officials should stop kidding themselves and the tremendous educational value of showing an animal behind a glass wall, says the PETA researcher. Since many people don't even learn about what they need to learn while visiting these animals, there's different ways they can learn. Another way to experience the animals could be traveling to their natural habitat and participating in a safari ride, or viewing of the animals without getting too close and allowing them to live their life in their natural habitat. Another option is creating a 4D safari ride attraction where you feel as though you are close to the animals, but in reality, it is video effects allowing you to see the animals up close and in their natural habitat. An example is 4D rides at Universal Studios. Because of our modern day technology, this is possible. If you are truly interested in the educational part of animals, there are many alternatives. There are so many books, TV shows, movies, documentaries, games, and much more that allow you to learn about animals in an exciting way. Because of how many zoos there are worldwide, it would be extremely difficult to dismantle zoos as a whole. But that does not mean there shouldn't be more regulations and precautions put in place to help with this problem. To help make zoos more humane, there are hundreds of permits, regulations, trainings, and that are required for zoos. But it's found that these standards have been decreasing, making it easier for people to make a zoo legal. Although there are regulations set in place, after the first few years of the zoo being open, their standards and regulations start to stop being maintained, and this is allowing zoos to break the law and are putting the animals at risk in the process. There are so many zoos worldwide that are putting animals in danger, humans danger, placing animals in improper captivity, causing animals to develop differently, and putting them into harm's way. Learning is much different outside of the zoo. Zoos are extremely inhumane and are harmful to animals, which is why zoos should be dismantled as a whole. Thank you. Did you stop it?